can we pan to the audience? I'm curious. How many of you, raise your hand, think this is a big deal, the Epstein thing? Would you raise your hand? So, I mean, every hand has gone up.
So that was Charlie Kirk asking his audience how big of a deal the Epstein client list is to them, and you saw that all hands went up unanimously. So I'm sure Charlie Kirk is sitting there in the back of his mind saying, oh man, how am I going to try to spin this one back to the flock and keep everybody in line? Maga truly is coming unraveled at the moment, and folks, honestly, I'm enjoying sitting back watching it, if I'm telling you the truth. But now, as the story continues to unravel and unfold, we learn that Dan Bongino is considering resigning after he had a big blow-up with Pam Bondi. And the news is, if Bongino resigns, Kash Patel is saying that he may resign as well. So the whole Trump team that he picked, all of these loyalists that he picked and surrounded himself with, are now falling apart at the seams. And there is so many ways to look at this and break this one down, folks, that we could sit here for the rest of the day and talk about all the different possible angles. But one angle I would just like to show is Dan Bongino before he took the job as the Deputy FBI Director and after. So this first clip is Dan Bongino on his podcast asking all of the questions that Maga has been asking about Epstein for years and pushing his conspiracies. Take a look.
And what the hell are they hiding with Jeffrey Epstein? Why do they want to make this Jeffrey Epstein story go away so bad? Because the people in charge of this global cabal of idiots out there trying to hide the truth don't want you to hear about this story and have the power to censor it. The deep state, it's a conspiracy theory. Really? That's crazy. Write a piece on what's a conspiracy theory. Tell me what part of this conspiracy is theoretical. Oh, boy. This thing is just getting nastier by the second. The question is, why were they talking to him and what were they trying to make go away? Does it have anything to do with the extensive video network alleged to have existed on his island and on his plane? We need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee-deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there. This Epstein thing is there's more than meets the eye there. I know a lot of people want to make this thing go away. That Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal.
So yeah, that was Dan Bongino before he took the job as the FBI Deputy Director, and he's sitting there asking all the questions that Maga has been asking for years. But then when Donald Trump asks him to come into the fold and he accepts it, he gets inside and he looks around for a minute, then this is him after he took the job. Take a look.
I just want to be crystal clear on this. I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't.
Right.
There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay, it was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Right.
There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
So clearly I'm not MAGA, but if I were, I would look at those clips back to back and I would say, well, the first clip was a guy who was convinced that there was something to the Epstein story and he was spreading that out into the world. And the next was a guy covering it up. So the first guy was anti-deep state. The second clip was deep state. He has become the deep state, and that's what a lot of MAGA is upset about, and that's why at the beginning of this video when Charlie Kirk asked his audience, is this a big deal to y'all, all of their hands went up unanimously. But what is so interesting to me about this one is the way that Donald Trump always somehow manages to duck and dodge. I have to give him credit for one thing. I've never seen anyone be able to slip in and out of any accountability quite the way Donald Trump does, because the first go around he could blame it on the swamp. He could say, well, I got in there in an attempt to drain the swamp and I surrounded myself with more people in the swamp, and then they all turned on me. All these radical people in government all turned on me. This go around, he hired loyalists. This go around, he hired people from Fox News. He hired people to be his mouthpiece and to be loyal to him, and now they're fumbling the ball. So I always want to drive this point home. Every time Donald Trump has ever gotten near the White House, he's always talked about how he's the smartest guy in the room and how he can drain the swamp and how he can figure everything out and how he can expose everyone and their corruption. But anytime he ever gets in his own team, whether he appoints them or whether they were loyalists or whatever the case may be, they always fall apart at the seams. After he makes the claim that he's the smartest and he only hires the smartest of people, he always ends up, to me, looking like a complete and total buffoon because the people that he says are the best and the brightest can never seem to hold it together. And this go around, he went out there and he handpicked loyalists who would go to bat for him. But now that they're in there and they've promised to bring the Epstein files out, they've promised to release the list, they've made these promises on podcasts for years to their audience that if Trump got in, he would do it. Now Dan Bongino is exploding. Now Dan Bongino isn't showing up for work. Now Dan Bongino is saying he might resign, and Kash Patel is saying I may resign too. And I just go back to the second clip I played of just how nervous Bongino looks once he's been in there and he's been exposed to everything that was going on. Then you throw Elon Musk into the picture, tweeting countless times about Trump and how he's on the list and how he's hiding this and covering it up. Folks, the harder that they try to make this go away, the more guilty that Donald Trump looks. And some people says I'm being too hard on Maga. Some people says that I should always welcome into the fold. Some people should say that I should take the win when I see people turning on Trump. But folks, I'm seeing them slightly turn on him, but not full-chested. And it's good. It's good that they're slightly starting to turn. They're slightly starting to wake up. But somehow they always find a way to blame this on Bondi, blame this on Dan Bongino, blame this on Kash Patel. My question would be, who are you going to blame it on the next time? You can throw them under the bus if you want to, if it'll make you feel better, but then who gets the blame? Who steps up and takes their role? And then who fumbles the ball again? We used to live in a world where one of the most famous political slogans, and I do believe it was started by Harry Truman, was "the buck stops here." And that meant the buck stops with the president. I'm the one that has to answer for this. I'm the one who has to deliver. And Donald Trump here lately, when he's asked questions, literally says, I don't know, I haven't thought about it. You'll have to ask somebody else. I've got somebody working on that. I'll have to ask my lawyer. If the buck stops with the president, it's on Donald Trump to make this right. He has really been accused of a whole lot here lately. And if he has the files and he has the proof that he's innocent, all he has to do is release it. To all the ones out there who are trying to twist this and blame it on the Democrats, well, now, wait a minute, man. Why didn't the Democrats release it? And why are the Democrats being quiet? The Democrats really are irrelevant at this point because Trump is the one solely in charge. He has his finger on the button of all of it. He has the Supreme Court in his back pocket. They gave him immunity for official acts. He could dump anybody under the bus that he wants to. And trust me, I do believe, more so than anything, Donald Trump would love nothing more than to throw Democrats under the bus. A lot of times, yes, Democrats play too nice. A lot of times, yes, they won't get in the mud and sling shit. But Donald Trump will get in the mud and sling shit all over everybody. But this time it seems to me like he's really trying to keep the shit from splattering on himself. And everyone that says, well, why ain't the Democrats raising more of a fuss? The real question is, Trump's in charge, the Republicans are in charge of everything, so if the Democrats are the ones that are guilty, throw it out there and let us all see, because I'm not over here saying defend the Democrats. I'm not over here saying that. You can throw every damn one of them under the bus if they're guilty. But MAGA still can't really bring themselves to say that. They're still trying to hold on to that little hope that Donald Trump's going to save the day. But I'd just like to point out, he's mad that they're bringing up Epstein. He's not mad at Dan Bongino. He's not mad at Kash Patel. He's not mad at Pam Bondi. He's mad at reporters for asking the question. He's mad at people for still talking about it. And that really should tell you everything you need to know. I don't have to sit here and say that Donald Trump is guilty. All you have to do is just sit back and watch the way he's acted this entire time. All you have to do is sit back and watch the chain of events that have happened and just put two and two together. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I have never seen something more blatantly obvious in my life. And the question becomes, will Republicans be willing to throw one of their own under the bus for the sake of exposing this deep state they've been after forever? Or are they just going to prove that they were the deep state all along? I've always thought that Trump and MAGA is the true swamp. And let's see who's willing to drain it.